Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I first learned about the thumbs down gesture when I was 6 years old. Actually, I was playing a video game. My first video game ever was a Sega Genesis. I was playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 on it, and it had a bonus stage. And so you needed to collect some number of rings to get emeralds in this bonus stage. And if you failed to get that many rings, on the screen it would show a thumbs down. And so I learned that a thumbs down is kind of like a bad gesture. That was my first experience with it. And obviously I started using it in my everyday life. And I didn't really think it was a cool gesture or anything at the time. It was just my first experience with it. And what was really frustrating about that game was that it was really easy to lose because you couldn't control Tails in the bonus stage, and he would lose all your rings for you, and then you would get that thumbs down gesture at the end. And that's when I learned that thumbs down is a bad gesture. And I started making YouTube videos in 2009. I still remember my very first video. It was about hoarding copper pennies, right? Pennies before 1982. At the time, it seemed like copper was going to go to the moon. It was rising a lot faster than the precious metals, at least. And I don't really like copper anymore because it's difficult to work with, right? I can melt zinc pennies a lot easier than I can melt copper pennies. I only tried doing copper one time, and it was a disaster to say the least. I'll give it another try at some point. Uh, but obviously, I'd much rather have metals that I could actually work with these days. So I uploaded that video, and to my dismay, I discovered that people sometimes hit the thumbs down button. At the time, you could actually see how many dislikes your videos got. I would upload a video, and most of the reactions were likes, but occasionally I would get dislikes, and that was really upsetting. Um, and then 2 years ago, I started to adopt the Peter Schiff Show's opening. I would go, the Peter Shit Show! And I started getting a lot of dislikes. And that was really frustrating because I didn't want to back out of saying the Peter Shit Show because I didn't want to leave the impression that I tried something, it didn't work, and I backed out. And I was really frustrated though because after being on YouTube for over a decade, all of a sudden I'm getting dislikes, and I'm thinking what to do about this. My first reaction was to go on a break and say, because I've been getting too many dislikes, I'm not going to record any videos for like 5 days. You guys may remember that. That was in November of 2022. When I did that, I got even more dislikes. I think that video got like 800, 900 dislikes. But I went on with the break anyway because I didn't want to look like a quitter and back out of ideas that I had. And when I came back, I started asking for dislikes. That's when I became the Peter Dislike Show. Now, unfortunately, life as a solo sexual, people implicitly give you dislikes all corners of your life, right? You get a lot of headwinds in your life as a single slash solo sexual guy like me. So, for example, I work with a bunch of colleagues who are married, and I feel like at a huge disadvantage, right? These people have their dinner ready when they go home. They have other people to take care of other tasks, right? For example, I recently had to get my car fixed. Last month we had to file our taxes, obviously, and obviously just the daily maintenance of my life, right? To give you an idea, sometimes you guys who watch my videos may notice sometimes I go days and forget to take a shower, change my clothes because I'm juggling so many things. It doesn't help that all my work is more or less remote these days. I mean, I do have to meet up with the students from time to time. That's when I'll remember to take a shower. But unfortunately, I have to juggle every little life maintenance detail, right? And I feel like I'm at a huge disadvantage at the workplace. Not to mention, then I only have one income to cover all my expenses, right? And so it's just like the entire world just giving solosexuals a giant dislike. And I hope to change that in my lifetime in some way, right? I do have a few movements that I hope to get involved in. So, for example, every time I see something at a store or maybe the gym or something, they give a discount for couples, I'll make noise about it. I mean, I might not be able to get my way with it, but I make sure to voice my dissatisfaction with it, right? I talked about how at some theme parks there are rides that require two people, which is fine from a safety point of view. Yes, if the ride's safer with two people, by all means do that. But make it so that single people don't feel afraid to show up, and you can put them together, right? And so I'll always make noise about that. I'll make noise about. I'll have to be. I have to think about how to make noise at work. The next time my boss criticizes something, and I feel like I was at a disadvantage because that one I'll have to think a little bit harder about. But I do plan to make some noise one way or another. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.